Ciao tutti, Johnny here for another episode of Lunch with Johnny. Benvenuti, welcome to my kitchen. So I had a wooly this morning, so that's why I came to the kitchen. A wooly in Calabrian Neapolitan dialect that we grew up listening to in Bloomfield in Newark, and that whole neighborhood mostly was all Southern Italian. And a wooly is a desire, an urge. So today I got an urge to make eggplant balls. So let me show you what we got here. Of course, we got the eggplant. There's a nice organic eggplant. And I don't know if you know how to sex an eggplant. The female one has a slit, and females have more seeds. So I always look for one with this little circular indentation. That's an indication that this is a male and it's going to have fewer seeds. And the seeds are bitter, so I try to avoid them. So this is going to be the star of the dish. What else we got over here? I've got some breadcrumbs. I got some grated pecorino. I got some parsley and an egg. And I got a clove of garlic over here. So we're going to mix those all together with the eggplant after I cook it. And we're going to create the meatballs. And then I'm going to put them in this bowl to bread them after they're formed, and then we're going to fry them. So it's a pretty easy recipe. I got some water over here boiling. So let's get going. When I fry it, you'll notice here I've got my extra virgin olive oil, but I also have uh, some peanut oil here, and I'm going to do a mixture of these, and I'll explain why I'm going to use a combination of oils when we get to that part of the recipe. Okay, so uh, let's clean this up. This is pretty simple. There are a lot of ways that you can prepare the eggplant. You can bake it in the oven, you could peel it, you could saute it in a pan. I'm not going to do it any of those ways. Although I was talking yesterday to my friend Susan in New Jersey. She lives in Clifton, a town over from Bloomfield, where I grew up. And she makes hers different than I do. She does everything in the oven. I'm not going to do it that way. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to slice this, and I want to end up with about 1 inch cubes. Oh, look at this. See what I'm talking about? Sexting your eggplant, get the male. Look, there's no seeds. Look at that. Beautiful. Let me finish cutting this up. A couple of more slices here. Okay, that should do it. So I'm going to put these end pieces aside, and I'll deal with those in a second. But now, see, I had these about 1 inch. Now I'm going to cut them in cubes, so we end up with about a 1 inch cube. That should do this. Let's go this way. Nice. See, small cubes, about 1 inch. Oh, one just got away. Let me push this stuff over a little bit. And one more here. Okay, so that's that. Now these odd pieces, I'm going to do those separately. Same thing though. I'm going to end up with 1 inch cubes. And we go this way. And you see, I kept the skin on. I like the skin. I never peel my eggplants, even when I'm making eggplant parmesan or something like that. A lot of people peel them. It's an extra step, and I don't think it's necessary. So over here I got a pan with lightly salted water. It's coming to a boil. I'm just going to put all this eggplant right in there, and it's going to cook for a few minutes, maybe 5, 8 minutes, we'll see. I want to make sure that all the eggplant is soft so that we can start mixing with the other ingredients and form our meatballs. So you got to be careful over here. I don't know if you can see in that pot, but the eggplant likes to stay on the top. So what I do is every once in a while, I'll push it down. So we added all that eggplant, and the water has to come back up to a boil. Oops. See one over here that don't want to fall apart. Okay, we'll deal with that later. Okay. So we'll let these go here. I'll keep an eye on them, and I'll keep testing them until I know they're really soft. So what else do we have? We got this egg. I'm going to break that right in this bowl. Nice. Excuse me, I forgot my fork. We want to just beat this up a little bit. This is similar to like when you're making meatballs. And in fact, when I didn't grow up with these, I didn't know anything about them. So I learned about them probably about 8 years ago when I was in Naples. Let me shut up for a second because I got to get the rest of these things going. We're going to put about 2 tablespoons of parsley. Oh, good. We're back to a boil over there. You hear? Ooh, I don't like that piece. Bye-bye. Okay. I just roll these up like this. And we're just going to mince the parsley. That's going to go in. And just a rough chop. I think I'll go once more this time. This way. And that's that. My handy scraper. This may be a little bit too, it's okay. I was going to say it's a little bit too much than 2 teaspoons, but I think it's going to be okay. Okay, so that's that. And here's a 1/4 cup of pecorino grated. That's going to go in. I just mix these up a little bit. Okay. Let me see how these guys are doing. There's a lot of eggplant in here. That was a little less than a pound, that eggplant. So I'm going to put the top on here to accelerate the heat in the pan. And I'll get my garlic ready. Oh, this is a locatelli. This is my favorite pecorino romano. So you always notice that it's got this black wax on it. I just picked that up at Molinari yesterday. So we're going to need this garlic. Boom, take the paper off. And this is going to go right in that mix. And I want this minced finely. So like on some recipes, you see people are going to cook the eggplant in oil with garlic, with onions. I don't like to do that. That's why I want to mince this finely because it'll get the heat when the eggplant balls are frying in the oil. Get this off here, give one more mince this way, and I think we're going to be good. Okay, let me clean the board up here. Get all this stuff in that bowl. Okay, that's that. Okay, no waste anything. Get everything in there. Okay, now let me check one of these out and see if they're soft enough. Take a couple out here. I want to be able to smash these. See if I can do it. Yeah, see, they're pretty soft. I'm going to let them go just a bit more, but then I think we'll be okay. Clean my board up here a little. So when I take these out, you see I have a strainer over here in a bowl. We want to put the eggplant in there so that we can drain out the water and then let them cool off a little bit so that I can mince them up. So let's get this in there. So my mother didn't make these when I was growing up, so I didn't know anything about them. So we were maybe about 8 years ago, we were wandering around in Naples, the area behind the fancy hotels that look out on the Bay of Naples, on the Lungomare. And we were getting hungry, but it was still early, so we thought we were going to have to wait a while until we can find one of the restaurants, the trattoria or whatever, to open for lunch. So we're standing in a group talking, trying to figure out what the hell we're going to do. And I see this woman not too far away from us. And she had a dirty apron on. She was standing at the top of steps. So I said, let me go ask her. Looks like there's a restaurant over there down the steps. So I went over and asked her, and Alberto, are you open? She said, yeah, I'm just taking a cigarette break from frying. She said to me, Polpette di Melanzane. I never heard this before. Polpette in Italian is the word for meatballs. So I'm saying, what the hell is this? Eggplant meatballs. They got meat. So anyway, we ended up eating there, and I tasted. There's no meat in these polpette di melanzane. That's why I'm changing the name to eggplant balls, so nobody gets confused like I was. Let me pull these over, and I'm just going to take my potato masher and push down on these. Oh, they're nice and soft. Good. To release more of the water. You want to you want your eggplant to be as dry as possible. And I'm getting a lot of liquid out of here. And it's also mashing up the eggplant. So maybe I'm not even going to have to mince this. Maybe I can put it right in that bowl. So let me do a better job with my potato masher. And I think we may be okay. I can skip dirtying my board by mincing this. See how we're getting? It's like a pulp. And I think most of the water's out. So now the issue is going to be for this to cool off. And then we can continue because it's pretty hot now. And I don't want to put in that bowl yet because there's egg in there and I don't want to cook the egg. In fact, maybe just hasten the process. Let me see how hot this is. I was going to say maybe I'll run it under cold water, but we got a lot of we got a lot of moisture out of there, but they're still hot. I'm going to come over there and show you what they look like after just quickly boiling them. Yeah, hold on a second. I'm going to cool these off a little bit more, just in the interest of keeping things moving. And then I'll just squash them down over here, get rid of that water, and we're going to be good to go. Good. Okay. Get the water out in the sink, and I'll come back and show you how everything's supposed to look. Okay. So this is what you're going to end up with. Very quick. You put them in the water, and then you mash them. And if this didn't break them up enough, I would have minced them with the knife, but I don't have to. So now they can all go right in here. Oh, now we're going to get to the fun part. And again, if you don't like the skin, peel it. Make the recipe your own. Look at all this water that came out. You don't want to see the water. So we get rid of all of that. So the next thing I have to add to this is a cup of breadcrumbs. And I'm going to use one of the most valuable tools in the kitchen. My hands, just like with meatballs. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to just mix all of this together. Just like you would do with meatballs, we're doing them too with eggplant balls. Ooh, I love these. So these are going to be like little marble size. And you can have them for an antipasti. You can have them with meat, fish as a side. And I'm going to coat these with breadcrumbs and before I fry them. But you can leave the breadcrumb coating off, and you can even make a marinara and serve these as part of a pasta sauce. So I'm going to bring over, first I got to get rid of this, get this out of the way. I'm going to bring over this pan. Oops, what fell over here I'm going to show you. Just got to wash my hand, hold on. Turn the heat on over here. And I'm going to use both olive oil and peanut oil. And I'm going to put a fair amount in here because I want, number one, the flavor of the olive oil. But when you're frying, the eggplant will absorb a lot of the oil if it's not at the right temperature. So we're going to try to get up near 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And the peanut oil is going to help increase the smoking point of the oil. Yeah, I think that's enough. So, 350 degrees. This is a candy thermometer. So I'm going to put this on the pan so that I know when I'm going to get to 350. And then we'll be able to, a little salt and pepper goes in here. Not too much salt because the pecorino's salty. We don't need that anymore. We don't need this anymore. So let me put that there. Get rid of that paper in my compost. So just take a little bit. This is probably the hardest part of the recipe. You just want to make little or big marbles, about maybe 1 inch like this. And we'll just keep doing this until we use up of all of that. And I'll keep an eye on that oil. And after I got forming all of these, I'm going to roll them in some breadcrumb and then we'll fry them. And this probably will yield a couple of dozen of those uh, little marbles. So one time I had a bunch of people and I was going to serve eggplant balls as part of the antipasti. So, you know, people wander in, I'm taking the balls out of the oil, who grabs one? Another person comes in, they grab, I said, hey, we need this for the antipasti, get the hell out of here. So when they went in to get a second one, good thing I had my wooden spoon around because I gave them a very light rap on the knuckles. So get the hell out of here. You'll have more when we sit down at the table. Oops, this one's a little bit too big and that one was a little too small. So you want these uniform because you're going to put a bunch in at a time and you want them all to cook. Let me check my oil. Okay, we're getting close. So I saw this guy Pasquale. I watched some of his videos, and he said he didn't have the thermometer. He said he uses a toothpick and puts it in the oil, and if he sees bubbles forming around, that tells him that the oil is at the right temperature. So I was getting bubbles there. So I'm going to turn this down for a second as I continue to make these. Because you don't want the oil too hot because these will burn. And you don't want it too cold, the temperature too low, because these meatballs will absorb the oil and we don't want that. So let me try to hurry up here. And maybe I won't make them all just for purpose of keeping this episode short. So I got 2, 4, 6, 8. I'll make maybe a dozen. And then after I shut down the camera, I'll make the rest of them. Okay, I think this is going to be enough. Easy, right? Okay, let me wash my hands one more time. Excuse me, I'll be right back. And check the oil temperature. Yeah, I think we'll be okay. So now, I'm just going to take these meatballs and roll them lightly in the breadcrumbs. I'll put them right back over here after I dust them with the breadcrumbs. So these are pretty fragile, so I'm going to be gentle with them when I put them in the oil and also when I turn them because I don't want them to break. Easy peasy though. It's an easy recipe. And as I said, they're very versatile. You can have them antipasti, you can have them with a meat or fish in a main course. I like even after I make them, I like leaving them on the counter. And every time I walk by, I'll pop one of these babies in my mouth. And if I'm not using them for any anything else. If in the course of the day I eat them all, who cares? I only made them for myself. And if I have some left over, they'll keep in the fridge for a day or two. No problem. Okay, a couple more, and they're going to come over there closer to the camera and show you what they're going to look like before they go in the oil. Okay. So here they are. Just a very light dusting of the breadcrumbs. Now let's fry them up, and we're going to be eating soon. I'm going to dry this off because I want to use it dry to put the balls into the oil. But I don't want any water here, otherwise I'm going to get a big splatter. Okay, take a few at a time, put them on this strainer, increase the heat a little bit. Got a nice sizzle in there. So I think the oil's good in terms of temperature. And you notice that I don't have a rapid fry here. And that's what I want. Now just leave them alone and we'll see. They got to be turned. Oh yeah, here we go. I'm going to turn these puppies over. So we want to make sure they get golden all over. And I like the way it looks even with some of that skin showing. So probably I had about maybe in this big pan, maybe about an inch of oil. But that's plenty deep enough because these marbles, these eggplant balls are pretty small. So I think they're going to cook evenly. So I'm just turning them over. And if I have to, I could always just, like with the meatballs, turn them on their side if they're not cooking evenly. But I think these are. I don't know if you can see it, but they're fully immersed halfway up the eggplant ball. So I think they're doing good. Maybe increase the heat just a little bit. Now, because this is going to be my lunch, I just made a little antipasti platter. I'll show you what I got on that. And this is going to be my light lunch. Hi, excuse me for walking in front of the camera, but I need some more paper towel to drain the eggplant balls. I'm so glad you guys like coming hanging out with me in my kitchen when I'm cooking. It's fun. And today, because of the Wooly, I'm in Naples. So I don't know if you noticed. Let me come over there so you can see this. This is Andy Warhol's oil painting on canvas of Vesuvius exploding. Warhol lived in Naples for a while in the 80s, and then he painted this in 1985. It's in Museo Capodimonte, a beautiful, beautiful museum and park on the top of the hill overlooking Naples proper and the bay. It's one of the best classical museums for all of the Italian giants. It's I like Caravaggio, and they have one of my favorite Caravaggio paintings. It's huge. It's probably about 6 feet tall. The Flagellation of Christ. So anytime I'm in Naples, I got to go up to the Capodimonte to spend some time in the park, enjoying the statuary, the greenery, and visiting some of my favorite paintings. So most of it's classical art, but they were, I guess, so impressed with what Warhol painted that it's included among all the other masters. So when I saw this T-shirt at the airport at the museum shop, I had to buy it. So these are almost done. You can feel that they've hardened, and that's an indication. See, like this one on the side, it's not golden brown, so I'm going to turn it over. But I think these other ones are ready to come out. So let me shut off the heat and take these out and let them drain on the paper towel. Yeah, these are pretty. I think we did a good job. The proof will be in the eating, so I'm not going to get too boastful yet because we've got to cut it open and see if it's any good. But I think the oil temperature was good, so they didn't absorb a lot of oil. Okay, that's that. Set them over here. Clean up a little bit over here. And I got to show you one more thing with my antipasti platter. So let me take a couple of these, set them over here, and I'm gonna open them up to let them cool so I don't burn myself. Oh, okay, they look good. I'm squashing them a little bit because they're hot. But let me come over and show you what I got. And this is all going to be finger food, so excuse me. It's no high class meal. So it's just a little antipasti for Johnny's lunch. So here I've got a little thin slice of Orecchio sharp provolone. It's my favorite. I got some oil cured olives. I got a bocconcino, a little fresh mozzarella and water. And over here, I want to make sure you can see this. This is mortadella. And you see the green pistachio and the black peppercorn? This is imported, and that's how they make the mortadella with the black peppercorns and the pistachio. So, this is a precursor to American bologna because when it came from Bologna, where they make it, it was stamped on the outside, Bologna. And in America, that got translated into bologna. So that's what a lot of Americans have been eating. Oh, and got another treat to go with this. You know what this is? This is a tarali lunghi, a long tarali. Usually you see these little rings, and they'll either have black pepper or fennel. This is the same thing, but it's in this long shape instead of those little rings that most people associate with terali. But I got lucky because the market around the corner just started to bring these in. So these are terali lunghi, handmade in Puglia. So I've been enjoying these. This is the second bag I've bought already. So let me go back over there and see if my finger food antipasti is any good. Where am I going to start? I'm going to start by breaking this. I'm going to I'm going to go right for half a meatball after I finish eating the tarali. Mm, absolutely delicious. Creamy, sweet, a little bit of the salty pecorino, a little accent of garlic, but the exterior, after rolling that mixture in the breadcrumbs, crunchy. I stole another one. Let me come over here so you can see it. See how nice and crispy it is? Now, you'll probably hear it when I bite into it. It's going to be crispy because of that breadcrumb coating. Mmm. You hear that? Ooh, look, this one's hot. See the steam? Hey guys, this is a simple one. The hardest thing is forming the eggplant balls with your hands. You should be able to get this done, stove to table, I'm saying in less than 30 minutes. We'll see how long the video ends up. Because you know me, I'm always talking, and the video gets longer than the actual time to cook it. But you gotta make polpette di Melanzane, eggplant balls, no meat. Okay, guys, see you next time. Keep on cooking. Ciao.